And we are live talking about movies once again. 28 years later, 28 days later, 28 weeks later. How are you today, Matt?
I'm okay. I'm happy to be here to talk about the cinema with you, Multi. Like usual, it's always a pleasure to do it. And like I say off screen, I'm on vacancy, so I just relax and see movie, TV show, and gaming. So I have plenty time to see stuff, and so I go to cinema 1 week to see this movie. So yeah, I'm happy to be here to talk about that. And you, Multi, how you doing?
I am doing great. I watch a lot of movies and TV shows as well. We are in the same boat, but I'm not in vacation, unfortunately. But um, I'm excited to have you on. Thank you again for joining once again. So I will ask you, what did you think of 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later, the two movies that came out before 28 years later?
So, fun fact about me, I never see the two first movie before 1 month ago. I decided to watch the two movie to be ready to reach to the third one 20 year later. So I was not a fan originally of the franchise. I know the movie exists. I know the first one was a classic of this time, and he create a little evolution about zombie on the cinema, and I see why. And the first one for me is very good. Is I know I understand why it's a classic. The way the story is done, and the character, and the way the movie is filming, and the introduction where the main characters walk on the center of London and nobody is here, and all is devastated. I like the universe was created for for this movie and for other movie after that. The way the story handled the zombie is in the movie is not called zombies, is are infected, so it's not the same thing. Is a distinction important for this universe. You can call him a zombie, but for the it's not like zombie you see in the Resident Evil or other movie about zombie, like the one that Zack Snyder have done. This kind of creatures affected is unique on the own way for that. I like very much the first movie. Cillian Murphy is such a great actor, and he's phenomenal in this movie. One of the first one on the first big movie I've done, and you can see the talent he have there. I like very much the first one. I think I understand why it's a classic of this time. Sure, today is not the same experience. I understand for many people see this movie today is not the big experience in the big wow the movie was such a thing, but yeah, I see why, and back then it was so a revolution for what it is. And the second one, the 20 week later, was a good continuation of the first one. I like the story again. I like the character of Jimmy Raynor. He's played this military, don't want to kill innocent people. So he bust out of the army, he protect his family when the kids are immune to the infection, and try to save them. And the movie is so dramatic about that. You have not he's the only good guy in the movie. Other characters are so gray. The father we follow is not a hero. He's a simple human trying to survive, and he has done a terrible thing. He left out this wife and to try to survive, and he's so in pain after for that. And he tried to save this kid, but he's become affected, and now he tried to rebuild his family when he is infected. That's so profound. This is so it's a strange way to develop a story about infected, about zombie. I like the take here, and it's interesting to say the sequel is a good continuation, Besides, it's not the same director. Danny Boy direct the first movie, and he let a friend to do the second one, a director from Spain, and he do a great job to mimic the universe of the first one and add his own taste of and its universe. The second one is more gray, more dark than the first one. The first one have the first one developed the hope. You have the universe gray, dark, but you have hope. The second one, you do not have hope. In the end, the movie opened with a worse scenario in the start. The infection spray all on Europe, so it's a bad ending, and hope for a new continuation for the story. And you have this continuation in this movie, the 20 year later. You have not have 20 a month later of functionality. The movie take 20 year to be made of functionality. It is interesting to know the first movie has not a big budget, was a little budget, independent budget for this movie. The first one, nobody believed it would work. So yeah, the third one has a bigger budget, but because the two first are now uh, loved by fan of this genre. So yeah, but back then it was not a big thing for this movie. So it is interesting to see that when you see the evolution of this universe and now where we are. But yeah, I like this first two. The first one is best of the two, but the each movie has the own way to develop the universe to use the concept of affected. So yeah, each one have good quality in it, a good actor. Like I said, Jeremy Renner, I like this character in the second one, and Cillian Murphy is phenomenal in the first one. So yeah, for me, that was my experience about this movie. I see, like I say, I see the two first movie like 1 month ago to be ready for the release of the new movie. In this movie, we talk soon about them, but it was another interesting experience in cinema to see. To see that, and it's the return of Danny Boy. Interesting to say, Danny Boy is back to directing the movie, and Alex Garland is back to for the screenplay. So yeah, interesting, and I'm intrigued to know what you think about all this movie, Multi.
Thank you for sharing. Now I gotta say, I feel like we got so many bad zombies movie that this elevates so much. 28 days and 20 weeks later, I thought that's a great franchise. I did happen to see for the first time these two movies. I think it's like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I think it's more like 3 years ago actually, but I did enjoy 28 Days Later a lot. And I felt like 28 Weeks Later was a massive downgrade. I still enjoyed the action, but it didn't feel like it was the same movie. It didn't feel like it was really a sequel. Yes, it's the same universe, but the tone and atmosphere is so different that it feels kind of off. And again, it's the same universe, but we got a drama with the first one that's about infected, but also about how society has collapsed. And we get hope, as you said, that eventually things will get better and people are smart enough to rebuild and all. And the sequel is more like, oh yeah, let's escape these infected, and like maybe they are the only hope, but everyone dies around them, and it feels like the trope of the zombie movie. The second one, the sequel, really feels like the classical, the usual zombie movie that was made so many times with so many other uh, movie makers. It didn't feel like the same kind of movie. Like one is a solid drama, the other one is just like let's delete some zombies, and that's why I didn't like the second one as much. As much as I like Jeremy Renner, he's just a military guy. Well, we had Cillian Murphy with the first one that was a very endearing character that was very enjoyable. Um, so that's how I feel. The first one was cool. It was great. felt different. The second one, it felt like something we have seen so many times. Oh, we got a call incoming.
Oh
There you
yeah,
are, Cole. Welcome to the show.
and
I just shared my thoughts on 28 days and 20 weeks later. What are yours, Cole?
Yeah, sorry. Forgot to. I was gonna write down some notes for this. I didn't by accident, but that's fine. It's still fresh in my mind. But yeah, I quite like this. I know there's gonna be some people like because there's been a lot of zombie films after like 28 days later now, um, in like recent time, and with The Walking Dead and everything, I've kind of done a lot of things with the genre, and also have kind of like made it a bit over the top or like less grounded in areas that people liked more about 28 days later. So I think there's like certain choices in this that might upset just some stubborn hardcore fans of the original, but I mean, I'm not one of those. I like the changes made there uh, in area, or well, not changes, but just like some of the world building they added to this, and with some characters, I thought it was really interesting. And yeah, I loved the premise and set up the film with that whole area. I thought that was really cool and a good idea. And honestly, the depiction of them as well, how they kind of like feel a bit like a cult, where start realizing and you also showed in comparison as well to like the alpha zombies and others, where they still seem fairly human, obviously, despite the rage virus, where kind of makes you think like who's really more human than the other at this point, but yeah, and the obviously with the original they did that whole visual style of like the old kind of found footage thing, and it worked for the time and I still like it, but some people don't they kind of wish it was in HD quality looking back on it today and rewatching it and revisiting it. But yeah, because of that though, seeing that be done here, like what they can do now and visually and with shots without that kind of old cam quality is really cool, especially with how good of a director and cinematographer and whatnot they are, and with Alex Garland on board, who does a lot of good visual things as well, even if he's just a writer for this. Which I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he also did the cinematography. I haven't looked at it, but he's done a lot of great things visually, like with Men, Civil War, Warfare, Annihilation, and Ex Machina. So yeah, that was cool to see there, and yeah, the different like world building and new zombies they did, and the reasonings for it. Yeah, it made sense. And it was kind of pretty cool, kind of like the fat zombies kind of be treated like deers and all the other types. I thought was pretty interesting.
So I
And
guess that's the moment where we say spoiler and we get into the third one.
oh, I'm
Because
sorry. I'm sorry. Were we not?
we were talking about the experience about the first two movies,
I'm
but
sorry. Well, I'm sorry. I showed up late. You should have clarified that. Yeah, yeah. I'm so
it's
sorry.
okay. It's
oh,
okay.
that's fine. Do you want to add anything else about the first two movie before we
Oh,
kind of
you were talking about the first two. Again,
yeah?
you should have clarified. I thought we were talking about 28 years for.
After we do
Yeah,
very soon in like 2-3 minutes.
we
Oh,
do
okay.
it.
Well, I'll just like sorry. I'll do my reviews. I guess just those two. I guess again, just rehashing a little bit, even though we talked about it before. But yeah, I mean the first one, yeah, classic. I love it. Then the grounded style, the visual style is cool. I thought I liked the acting and from Cillian Murphy and whatnot. It's great. We already did kind of a review on it, so I kind of like stopped there. The only things I really just didn't like as much about it were some of the rules in it. They didn't like really follow through in certain areas, or like the blood being close to their faces. Not caring though, but in the newer one, they corrected that mistake, which I like. But and the other thing is, yeah, when they got to the military thing, and 28 days later, it was that part was a bit boring compared to the rest of the film. To me, a little generic, stereotypical. It's still good, but yeah, some of the scenes with it I think could have been done better. But yeah, and 28 weeks later, bit of a mess. Just director was not a good choice. Same one who did that Damsel film on Netflix. Just
Oh,
not.
amazing!
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
now I
not.
see why. I see
Yeah,
the
yeah,
connection
he's
now.
not a great choice. Like the whole opening is kind of entertaining, but it wasn't like done well. Though it's kind of like one of those directors that try to do like a one-shot take, but it's not good, very good. Like in the Bye Bye Man, but it's still kind of entertaining. There were good ideas with it, even if there were things with it that were very cliche and predictable. But yeah, the characters just killed off randomly, and there's just didn't really care about them. They weren't really built up besides like the main three. Um, and there were good ideas, and with them turning on the humans and everything as well, just killing everybody on sight. But it's just like, yeah, what wasn't executed very well, and you can remove that entire film from this franchise, and it won't have any difference. Especially with the whole thing they did for 28 years. Then later on with the description at the beginning, but yeah, I mean they said though that they're gonna like reference it or do something with it in like the second film, like at least make it canon still. So we'll see what they do. But yeah, my
So,
bad.
so I guess now this is the deep dive into 28
Yeah,
years
my
later.
my bad for starting early there,
That's fine. That's
but yeah,
Oh, no
fine.
problem.
the start there, I suppose, is like the start. Everything I said there, part of the deep dive for me, my review, I guess. So, if you want, I can just like continue, I guess.
Yeah,
But
continue. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I do like all the different characters, and I thought they were very memorable, unique. I love the act, and I believe this was this kid's like first movie role, so it was really well done. And Jodie Comer as well, great as always. Seen her in Banshees, and that also Night Swim film, which you like for some reason. I don't know why,
Yeah, I did. I did. That was a cool
but
movie.
God,
Oh my
yeah.
god.
But yeah, one of my only big issues is I wish the whole introduction was done a bit better, maybe a bit longer. I think there was more that could have been done with it. But yeah, but I mean that's about it for my issues. There's other things though that I'm just lukewarm on, but not really issues. Just like I don't know, like some of the shots of when they shoot zombies with arrows and stuff like that. Some you know techniques and ideas they use for that stuff. At times I like it. At other times I don't know if it was really. I'm kind of 50-50 on, but one thing I like though is despite like now the visual style being like this and doing nice shots and everything and the production design, which I like, they still kept like the editing and camera style from the original and with the same angles and edits and everything. Still kept the same tone and feel as the other films, which I do like and appreciate as well. And also yeah, I did. Yeah, there were like a couple things that I thought were maybe plot conveniences when I watched it, but I did do some kind of research and it did kind of like make sense. There was only like one I think is questionable to me, which I'll maybe bring up later. But like stuff like the whole um, gas station scene where some people brought up like a little too unrealistic that they didn't burn to death as well. No, they calculated it the level like they were on there, and in like a situation like that, and with the gas and everything, it only people like standing up will get burned. They kind of like calculated it with scientists and everything, among other things. But again, I like the old ideas and with the different zombies and the alpha and like the absorbing the sun as like steroids and also the fat zombies kind of being like deers and everything. Again, I like all those kind of ideas for it. Found it interesting, very interesting, and just building upon the universe. Now, again, there are some people who like how 28 Days Later was more grounded, and because they see some of these over the top zombie films and shows nowadays, and that came out after that, just trying to like revamp or revolutionize the genre and doing a bunch of crazy stuff. with it, so they see like different zombie types like that. And even though they're not even really zombies, they have just a rage virus, which is why they're not a lot of them not like rotten or anything. But yeah, still they see some of that stuff and they might not like it or see some of the wacky characters at the end. But I don't have a problem with it. I think it was done well, and considering it's 28 years in the future, like things are going to change like that, and it was still grounded enough. And also I don't have a problem with the characters being like that at the end. I think it makes sense. Like people are gonna go crazy 28 years in the future, and also with them in the scene in the beginning, how they're kind of like watching cartoon shows like that before it went to shit. It's kind of I can see then how they kind of like be inspired by that, or how it kind of made them turn into that, and with losing it a bit with the whole virus and outbreak and everything. So I think it did make sense there, and it's interesting.
And to add more on that, Willis Tridia had a stream where they talked about a lot of things, and one of the very interesting aspects they tackled was maybe that was a commentary about what happens when kids grow up in an environment like that without parent supervision, and I found that very interesting. Maybe that's why they are doing like really weird movement and all, because there were no parents around to teach them.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And yeah, and the dynamic with the kid, and how only grew up like after the virus and everything was cool too. And the outside world outside of it, and that dynamic, found all that pretty cool. And yeah, that is true with the messaging and everything. Yeah, there's a lot of things that people wanted them to explain more in this, but again, there's going to be three parts. We have time. Like, who knows what they do? People. They said that Cillian Murphy will be, like, I think, teased at the end of the second part, and then have a crucial role in the third. Don't know if like other characters from the original coming back. They might be dead at that point. We'll have to see, I guess. But I we have time though. Like, one thing I wonder though, is what if they'll reintroduce Aaron Taylor Johnson's character in the other ones, or what they're gonna do with him, or if they're kind of done with him mostly. One idea I have is, obviously it seems like the one alpha zombie who's still alive, wanted the baby, and think he might like raid their place and infect everyone there on that island when it's low tide and try to get it. And Aaron Taylor Johnson might like leave earlier with the baby to try to search for him, and try to catch up with him. So that's one
Yeah,
idea. There's also some people who think that Cillian Murphy's character might be like become a villain, like a cult leader, as a
Ooh,
twist. So
that'd be interesting.
yeah.
yeah, we'll see. But yeah, and yeah, I did read some of your plot conveniences and other things you had. Yeah, I mean, I'll maybe like talk about them when you bring them up. But one thing I will just say though is they did show that that like the area they were at, like, and from like the doctor and everything, were very close by that point, like in good walking distance or running distance. So, and he could have easily heard them. Same thing with the soldier, so it's not too far fetched for them to then like run to them after hearing that, and then saving them in time like that. Especially in this universe. And uh and also some of the zombies where they might not hear them from yelling and stuff like that. Some plot convenience people might bring up. It is the wildlife though. There's lots of noise, and with the deer pack and everything, in comparison to like the city where it's like dead silent because it was just mostly inhabited by pretty much people, and it's all inactive now. So I think that kind of like covers it along with other things. But yeah, they were all kind of like close by. It showed like the soldier and the doctor and everything. So I wouldn't say that was really much of a plot convenience. And as for like, uh, I do think this was also very tightly knitted and well paced as well. I mean that's again completely subjective, but don't really think there's much you could take out of this. I think it did a good job with that. But also, there was also another thing that one of my friends brought up. My one friend Bradley, he did bring up, like the scene where she was like yelling and having that fit on the cliffside. They did show earlier in the film though when he went out with the father that's kind of like a safe haven. There's not really any zombies there. There was just that one scene with the alpha who was following them and tracking them. So they are kind of safe there with being a bit loud. It's kind of like the scene in A Quiet Place where the character can just like yell under the waterfall. So they bring up, and yes, there will be 3 of these. Yes, there's 3 parts. The second part is being directed by the director of The Marvels and Candyman, which those films weren't great, but the best part of them was the directing and kind of visual style. It was really the writing of them, which wasn't great, which is still being done by Danny Boyle and Alex Garland. So I think she'll do a good job with it. And then the third part
But
is
what worries me is I heard it's a January release, so maybe that's a sign they don't believe in the sequel.
Maybe,
They're like,
but
let's dump it in January.
maybe, but there were a couple good films that released in January or scheduled to release in January, like Mickey 17. So we'll see, I guess. But
December, January are a month for a movie type for Oscar for information. Netflix is
Oh.
good for that. He release big movie like for Christmas or New Eve. He release big movie for Oscar at this moment. So it's not bizarre to release the part 2 on January. It's not a bad month for that. It's a better. It's not a great month for, but it's not strange for me. The movie release there is important. The release was fast after the first one for people follow. If you would wait 1 year, it's more difficult to convince people to go to see the sequel. So when the sequel is closer, it's more easy to sell the movie.
This I agree though. So maybe
Mhm.
November. 5 months apart. Let's do this, guys.
yeah, we'll see. And also, I could be
Release the
wrong.
trilogy in a year.
Yeah.
Generally, Kevin, you see Horizon, the first part of the big project of Kevin Costner. You want to do a 3-part, 4-part Western movie, and
Yeah.
each movie is supposed to release like 6 months apart. But the first one was so a fail, he decided to stop the production. The second one is supposed to release this year, but the idea was to convince people to follow the project to release one part each 6 months apart each one. So it's not strange to do that for with this movie.
And that whole thing, God, he
Uh,
spent a lot of it, like 600 million, on those 4 films, like of his own money, and
Wow.
like that was not.
Give me some. I want
Yeah,
to
that
watch this in
that
another
first
house.
film was not great. It was the best way to describe it. Yeah, Horizon. Yeah, 3 more coming out. They're going to be released like that in like film festivals, and the first part, best way to describe it, it's like the worst. It's like all of the worst parts of like Red Dead Redemption 2 into one film. And I know he got like a cinematographer and everything for it, but it's a cinematographer and everyone who just doesn't have the best track record, and it shows. Like it was not that pretty looking visually. It was like out of sync and in a lot of areas. Just it was.
I just feel the Horizon Part 1 is just like a big, long first episode from a mini TV show.
Yeah,
Like
it does feel like a TV show, and with the teaser at the end, I'm just like, why?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Power Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, I was not a fan of Yellowstone much either, but it was like
Oh man,
it was decent enough. It was decent enough though, so I'm like, okay, I'll keep an open mind. But I'm like, again, he did a
Man.
good job with like his first film that won all those Oscars, but after that, just I don't know.
So not the subject for today, but Horizon is a unique case about cinema. But you can do parallel with the release of this new movie because, like I say, he tried to release and after a few months to take to people follow the project because the franchise is old, but you have just 2 movies like 20 years before. So he tried to restart the franchise, and to do that, it's normal. The next movie released in January, but the third one has not a release date as today. He wait if the first one was a success, and decide if the third one was released or not. But the second one is sure you see in the theater, but you see in the for I think the first one is good enough to create a new trilogy. But we wait when people decide is yes or not about the
Yeah.
future.
Well, hopefully it's enough. But yeah, and the third part will be directed by Danny Boyle as well. It's just the second one being directed by someone else.
Yeah.
That's cool. So I'll ask you, Cole. Do you want to add anything else on
No, that's
28
about
years
it.
later?
You know, I'm sure there's other things I might have forgotten, but it's not a big deal. All good. Yep.
Perfect. So that's your turn, Matt. What did you think of 28 years later?
I like the movie. I have some issue with the movie in general, but in the end, I like the experience. You see, the movie is use the same formula for the like the first two on movie, but it's tried the new thing with this 20 year later, because Danny Boyle don't want to do the same thing again and again. That was the difficulty to create a new proposition. That's why one of the reasons this movie take so long to be made. They more want to do something new with this universe, and we can feel that in the movie for the good and for the worse for some part. But in the end, I like the proposition. You follow this family played by Johnny Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Alfie William, and that one. The one thing surprised me: the main hero of this movie is the young Alfie William. The story is all about him, the evolution, how he deal with this new world of with plenty of infected people, and the how people try to survive. And I like the story how he goes straight, but it's a surprise because you have Aaron Taylor Johnson play this father, and Jodie Comer plays this mother, but in the end, the two characters are not very important for the storytelling. Flynn has more interesting thing to do in the movie that the two characters. Aaron Taylor Johnson have some action sequence very great, but in the end, the more interesting character to follow is Alfie William. And for one of the first movie I've done, is a great actor with good talent. I want to see more of him. So yeah, I like the story. I feel the movie is split in two parts. The first part is more action, tension, focus, and the second one is more contemplate, more slow burn and psychologic evolution character.
Drama.
Then more drama, yeah, more. You have some little action sequence like the one with the one you have the alpha follow them, and you have this affected woman give birth. You have little tension here. The great scene, by the way, shocking with the baby. And but the second part is interesting for the evolution of character. I like the interaction with the character played by Ralphine. He play a doctor. He has the own vision of this universe and see death and life another way that other people see it. I like that. And one of my favorite scenes it was in the first part. In the first part, when the father and the kid try to go back to the island, is in the night, and he run on the beach, and you have and many affected follow them, and you have this big panorama with many star and many color. It's like a painting. I very like this. I love this scene. You can see that is the talent of Danny Boyle. Danny Boyle have a good talent to do that kind of scene. And happy to see him to do that again. He done many movie and past year, but when he had done one, you can see the talent, and there is a great director. You can see. I need to see more of this director in the cinema, but he take time to do projects. So I understand that is a way to do it, like Tarantino example. But yeah, I like the movie. But one problem I have is the end. You can tell the end is done to give us a little taste for the future of the franchise. You can tell is you can go with a new direction when
It's a
for the
teaser.
like a teaser for the new direction for the part two. You would feel the part two was go to the new direction. And then you have this little scene when the kid find is chased by F10 and find a bunch of killer human killer little crazy guys. And you discover the little twist of the movie. The kid in the start of the movie is become this guy, the leader of the cult. Uh, in the end. So I was like, okay, I was a little confused. And the movie is more light, more colorful in the end. More what the fuck for this second. The guys beat affected with weapon, jump and do some stuff. All the movie
Power
was
Rangers.
yeah, like the like thing. So I was confused, but I was intrigued to see the future. But I feel the part two was not. Well, it will be different of the part one. It can be a good and a bad thing. We will see in the future. Because Danny Boy has such a unique way to give us a story, an universe. So I'm a bit worried for the future, but I'm big entry too. It was my main concern about the movie. It was the last part, and I can see the why so many fans of the franchise not like this one, because you can see it's the same universe, but it tries so many new things. He tried to mix so many things in it. So something is good, something maybe not good for some people. Like I said, movie is split in two parts, and that just that thing can be can be confusing for people. But for me, I like the idea to of two way of the story. The first part is, like I say, more tension, more horrific, and the second one is more psychological, more drama. I like the idea and I like the drama, but I think Aaron Taylor Johnson is better in part one that Judy Cover in the part two. She's okay. She's a phenomenal actress. I like the actress, but she had not big enough to do in the part two. She is sick and try to be there for this kid. I understand that, but the actors have done so much better in past. Like I described the actress in the TV show Killing Eve. She was so great in Killing Eve, but the show end with one of the worst ending of all time. But sorry for another day. But she was one. You can see the talent of the actress there, and in this movie she is good, but she can be better than that. So yeah, but I like the movie. I think it's a good continuation of the universe. I have some great idea, some idea will maybe confusing, but at the end, I want to see the future of this franchise. Book and this universe and the story. I want to see what the kid will become. So the movie worked for me, like the other before. So yeah, I'm happy to see Danny Boy again. With Alex Garden and screenplay. I feel for me, just my opinion, Alex Garden is better as screenwriter than director. He had done a tasting director movie, but for me, he's more great when he was a screenwriter than a director. But maybe it's just my opinion. I know many people love this movie, like Man and Civil War. I like Civil War, but not as much as other people. And this last movie, War 4, was he was not the only director. He helped a friend to do this movie, so he's not the main director of the movie. Some people think the movie is him, but it's not. It's just a two director tried to help a friend to do this movie. So yeah, but then yeah, I think it's a good continuation of the franchise. So yeah, good movie. And maybe not for everyone, especially maybe many fans will not like this movie. But I'm not, like I said, not a big fan of the franchise. I like this movie. So yeah, and yeah, I think I want to hear you, Multi, now.
Okay, perfect. Well, here are two opening statements before I really dive deep. The first one, I feel like the character arc of the main character was great. I liked it. He became competent by the end of the movie. You really realize, oh wow, now he is able to take out these zombies that he wasn't able to beat prior. And that's very fun. That's enjoyable. That's part of the journey when you simply do these movie about zombies and all. And now I think I froze. But my second opening statement there would be, I feel like this movie could have been very different, and we wouldn't have needed like a trilogy. Now we need the trilogy because of the way they did that movie there. But I feel like if they simply split the movie in three parts of like 3 40 minute ish, you could have gotten like three different communities and how they deal with things. That could be very interesting. So this is my thoughts on what they could have done. They didn't do it, obviously, but now hopefully my computer can work because I really want to read through my notes. So I remember one of my issue right off the bat. I thought
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pacing.
multi, your cam not working for.
Yeah, my computer froze. That's why.
Uh,
At least
uh,
I you can still hear me. Hopefully, do you?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Continue.
Well, um, my first issue was the pacing. I feel like the movie was very slow, and I feel like the 2 hour runtime didn't feel that justified. I think they could have cut maybe 15 to 20 minutes. Um, and a lot of the things I would have cut would be mostly the footage they had for the trailer and the teasers. They were not that needed. I don't think they pushed the story enough, and that's a good 3 4 minute easy that you just get there. Um, that was my first issue, and now I'm back. I'm back. I still froze. I know. So I will be right back in a sec.
Okay, well, anyway,
Yeah, so multi is done, but to answer Miss Sparkle in the commentary, I think the two directors had two different vision about the universe, and the end of this 20 year later, you can see the new vision try to live with the older vision. So in in the part two, I hope to see why this movie has done that, but I think that the second director she had not the same vision about this universe. We'll see in the part two, but I feel that can continue multi.
Perfect. Well, uh, we are there, and again, pacing. I feel like it could have been more tight, and um, yeah, lots of flashy moments. Okay, I guess that was their way to tell. Oh, look, they have nightmares or whatever. But even there, I think it could have been more tight in
well,
general.
I think it can be, I don't know, lead to something else. So kind of like the protagonist in Dune, how with the spice he kind of like saw in the future, but also doesn't. It isn't like consistent. It's just like an average estimate of what could happen. I feel like that could be like the case there with him. Like there's something with him, and that's like passed down or whatnot. I don't know, just an idea.
Mm.
It
Yeah.
could lead to
Um,
something in the future ones.
yeah. So my second issue, plot convenience. The military survivor not only happened to be around the leads, but he arrived at the right time to save them. Now, here's a quick fix.
Multi is not a military survive. Is a Europe coalition of military to survive to create a surveillance about the UK. Is the guys from Sweden? Sweden is not English. He crashed there because
I,
this
I,
convoy.
I, I said the military guy. That's what I said. A military
Yeah,
guy
but
just
he's
had
not a survivor.
to.
He's not a survivor. He just crashed there.
Well,
He
he is a survivor because the rest of his squad got deleted.
Yeah, but the way you say that, he's British. He's trying to survive this place. No, he crashed there. He's from another country, and he don't happy to be there. He's just there to do this military stuff, and he's the last one of the squad.
I get what you're trying to say, but in my mind, and I think you made a valid point. I made it sound like he was a survivor around, but
Uh,
in my mind, it was more like his squad got deleted, therefore he is a survivor of his squad. but I get what you're saying. So maybe I
Okay.
should course correct and say
It's okay.
the military guy that survived his squad getting annihilated, that was convenient and very easy fix. Replace one of the rewind. Uh, replace. Uh, oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so replace a lot of the stuff I would have caught, like these things you place in a trailer. Replace that with the squad of soldiers just saving people on the mainland, and
Oh,
that fixes it because then that's their goal, that's their mission to really save people on that island.
Yeah,
And
but it isn't though because the military doesn't care about them. It's just keeping them in quarantine. You know, they
yeah.
got there by accident, so it wouldn't really make sense to the world building that they kind of set up and everything. And again, they did like you can call it a plot convenience if you want, but look, there's plot conveniences in every film all time. Like you know, if we were to kind of be freakish about this, and you know, there won't be a film. You know, like with all these like conveniences and setups. Like you know, they showed a scene of him that he was close by, and after everything they went through, you know, and they showed you know how you can hear them from good distance away. You know, and he had a lot of time to catch up to them and save them because those scenes of them running and in the gas station and everything went on for a while. And the other thing, you know, is in these films which I forgot to make up, you know, time, you know, the scenes that we see, they might like be like frantic and fast, but time, you know, like the scenes last longer than we think with the time and everything as they showed. Also, in like 28 days later, when Killing Murphy was running away and how it got dark quickly and stuff, which also explains how they showed up by then, you know, and were there by, you know, after hearing him for quite a while and running and everything, you know, so that you know that's the other thing you have to take into account there. But also forgot to mention. I mean, I already kind of mentioned it as well. But yeah, again, I do like also how they in this film remember, you know, don't get it in the eyes and have scenes like that, and they even with the baby, you know, how quickly wipes the blood off and everything. So yeah,
I again I feel like we got so many plot convenience. The next one I got is with the doctor saving them. I get it, that's the goal of them like finding the doctors and all. But maybe take out the entire saving aspect and have them meet the doctor. Yes, it's more boring, it's less action driven, but it wouldn't feel that convenient because their goal was to find the doctor. But now the doctor just appears to save the
yeah,
day.
but they were very close by as they shown, and then
Yeah.
but you know, and then they even got closer during that and with walk before taking a break and then running away from it and stuff. Like they were pretty close by and stuff, and with the avenues and stuff, and how big his whole area was. Like it was, you know, it wasn't just like the small area with the smoke. Smoke. It was a pretty big area he was in, you know. And again, he heard them from. You can hear
The
them from a
the
decent
the,
mile away.
the mother, the kid, walked like one day to this place and to go there. So it's logical to find at some point the character this way. It's not weird because it's logical with the evolution of the story. The two character walk to this place and in this area, like Cole say, the doctor is there. So at some point, the two will will come together. So for me, it was great.
Yeah, and, you know, you could like again. The one thing we'll say is, you know, of course, if you want to be picky about, it, you could say, you know, like the exact moment he did it at, where like literally just in the nick of time, instead of like realistically, you know, if it was a real world, maybe it would be a little late and one of them would die before he could reach them, or he would do
Yeah,
it earlier, you know, just so there isn't that dramatic scene. But again, you know, that's just can make those things like in any scenes in any movie. You know, there wouldn't be any cool moments or a movie then. You know, just like the scene later on with how he just did it at that moment, just saving him in time when they're in the hole. You know, in shelter. You know, realistically, probably would have done it sooner or would have done it just uh, ran out of time before doing it, or his head snapped before. But you know, again, you can make those nitpicks if you really want to. But again, there really wouldn't be a movie. It's not. It's just like seconds. It's not a big deal. It's like whatever. It's like can make these like comparisons with any
Yeah,
film in history.
I agreed with Cole. Your issue with plot convincence is not the good. It's not the good spot. You point some point, but it's not the way to point. You need to point other way.
I think the one valid plot convenience that you could bring up in this film, the one I would say, is the one scene with the baby. Even though they did show the scene, wiping off the blood and everything, and I don't have an issue with it, and it can still possibly happen. Obviously, where they're able to do it properly, it is still a little, it rare for not to get like any blood or anything possibly in the baby's mouth or face and everything after giving birth, but or anything like that. But again, that it's still possible. It's just if you want to bring up one thing that you could say is sort of like a valid plot convenience in that film, that would probably be like the most realistic one in my opinion.
And it's funny because there are other reviewers that were like, you know what, it's very convenient that the baby doesn't cry all the time, and that's funny. I agree. I've heard that critique. I'm like, I'm jealous I didn't think of it. I thought about it when I was tearing apart Walking Dead, but I didn't think about it with that movie. Anyhow, these were my issues. I feel like it could have been improved. It wasn't perfect. I still enjoyed that movie a lot. It's actually my favorite in the franchise, and here's to why. The action and visual were very fun. The acting was solid, despite having a teenager in the leading role. It's fun, and I feel like I'm a bias when it comes to Aaron Johnson Taylor. He is such a great actor. I like anything he is in except Craven. But actually, even Craven was a bad movie, but I was entertained by it, and I liked the actor himself. It was really
they
good.
did him and he was also in Kick Ass and Bullet Train. If you remember, did you like him?
Yeah, and he was in The Fall Guy last year.
Yeah.
I just like that actor so much.
Yeah, well, he was rumored to be the next James Bond, but I think he might. There was things that leaked though, where they released that new James Bond game that the Hitman Studio is working on, and the actor who's playing him in the game, and there was an accidental leak that the same person might be the one in the movie as well. That one young actor who was like in the new Dexter TV show.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it's either him or Aaron Taylor Johnson at this point. Like the rumor with Aaron Taylor Johnson has been there for a while with him possibly playing James Bond or being offered the part, and he also did that like watch sponsorship and everything recently that like a lot of James Bond actors have done, and that Daniel Craig did before getting the part. So that's where kind of the rumor started. But yeah, it seems like it might be one of those two at this point. I forgot the name of the actor, the other actor rumored, who's the actor in the video game. Let me just search him up quickly if I can.
Fun fact: we talk about James Bond. The new director was chosen yesterday. It was
really?
Denise.
I've heard it around, and I had really big doubts because I was like, you know what? I've heard a lot of names floating around, and he's very occupied guy. But it's official, like official. Like
Yeah. Denise talked about it. Yeah.
Denis Villeneuve was say on media he's the new director for the future of the James Bond movie, and he's very happy to do that. He's a big fan of the franchise, so yeah.
I like the guy, but I'm worried. Hopefully, we will get a full trilogy or something. But like that guy is so occupied, I'm actually kind of surprised. It's
not really. He's just doing Doom Messiah now, and that should be done fairly soon. Like, and there's still work. They're not working on James Bond right away. But like they still haven't confirmed the actor yet. But yeah, Patrick Gibson was his name. The other one, but he was the lead in Dexter: Original Sin. That show.
I know we were talking about
Yeah. And speaking of Dexter, that's a teaser on the channel. We will talk about Dexter because there's a season 10.10.0 or like whatever reboot, spin-off, sequel they try to
the sequel to the original TV show.
Yeah, like they just want to milk that franchise so much. It's crazy. Anyhow, I've a good one, Miss Sparkle, and to get back to 28 years because I
Yeah,
feel like we had a very interesting tension on James Bond, and
yeah,
also
yeah.
surprisingly,
Sorry
uh,
about that. But yeah,
and yeah, to get back on track, I really like the team of everyone will die eventually. It doesn't mean you need to forget them, honor them. It's amazing. I really like that aspect of the movie, and they hit it home very well. The music and sound were rock solid. I really enjoyed the music. I think this was the most memorable music in that franchise. I liked it so much, and even the sound, everything about the production of that movie is just fun. Um, and I will also say that the tension was quite high in many places throughout the movie, and that was very good. Nice universe and lore. Makeup and set design were cool. Despite being the weakest part of the movie, the main community itself was great. Um, the humor was amazing. I really liked it. Theme of being judged fast was well addressed through how the dad perceived the doctor to be crazy when said doctor is actually sane and really cool. And that goes back to also say the dad being a liar made sense, and the dad being worried about his son after the baby was dropped was solid. I think overall, this movie is what a zombie movie should be. Trying to have substance, trying to have really good things. Of course, we got like these few issues here and there, but these issues they don't drown the movie.
Yeah.
They don't make it perfect, but it's still enjoyable. Very good experience. I like that movie a lot, and I don't have a lot more to say. Fun experience, and I've heard floating around a lot of people were saying like it's a coming of age story, and it's accurate. That statement makes sense, and it's cool. I agree with that. Anyhow, I will ask the panel: are we adding anything else to 28 years later?
Oh, I think we talk about all about this movies. I think it's time to rank this movie and rank the franchise.
Yeah, so let's start by asking Matt, what would be your grade out of 10 for 28 years later?
I would give. It's difficult to give a rank. This movie is something something unique for experience on cinema. I would say maybe like a 7.9 of 10. I like some issue with this movie. For me, it's not the best of the franchise, so I can give a better not ranking after the first one. So for me, it's a 7.9 of 10 for this one. A good movie with good ideas, some issue in it, and again, Danny Boy is such a great director. And he done that again for this movie, and he give a new vision for this universe and create a new trilogy with it. We'll see in the future the trilogy worth that. But the start, we have a great start with this movie, with a tasting character and a tasting new way to develop infected and apocalyptic world like that. So I want to see more, and the movie give us this way to go. I want to taste more of that. So for me, it's 7.9 of 10.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing. What about you, Cole? What would be your grade out of 10 for 28 years later?
Cole, yeah.
I would. Well, I mean, well, firstly, the first film in this franchise give like a 9 out of 10. Second one, like a 3 out of 10 or 4 out of 10, I guess. And then the
Damn, damn.
yeah, and then the this one, I'd probably give at least like an 8 or 8.52 at least. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, and also maybe the one maybe he could also I mean I actually never mind. I don't think he can actually anymore because it did I think show one scene at least of the baby crying. But I was going to say maybe he could have done something where there's like something with the babies still infected, where they're kind of like mutes and deaf and stuff, where that would have explained it, in the later films, but with more research done or whatnot. But whatever, I guess not. But yeah, those would be my ratings, I guess.
Okay, well, my ratings. 28 days later, I've seen it, 3 years ago, Cole? We reviewed that like 2022 or 2023, I can't remember. That was 3 years ago, right? That was one of the first two
I
movies
believe
we covered.
I believe so. Yeah, it's been a
Yes.
while.
So that's based really on memory. I think I gave like 8.5 or so.
Yeah, I think so.
That would make sense because I remember liking it a lot, but having a few issues here and there. So that's what I remember from the first one. Now, 28 weeks later was such a downgrade for me. If I remember correctly, I gave like a 6.5 or a 4.5. I can't remember, but I know that was a big dip between the first one and the second one for me. How much of a dip? Again, 3 years ago, that's a long time to remember. But this time around, with 28 years later, I gave a solid 9 out of 10. And I've given a few 9 out of 10, I think 3 or 4 this year, and that one is my favorite from this year. So that's my favorite 9. And I really liked it. Um, and watching other reviews of 28 years later made it more fun. It's a great movie. Go watch it. Um, Anyhow, that's it for today, except if guys would like to add more on
No,
28 years later. So I will ask the panel, what do you have going on your end of the internet?
like usual, I see stuff and I write about them, but in French or not for your audience, unfortunately. But maybe you have some French people, French Canadian people in it. But yeah, other than that, I'm a vacancy for this week, so I relax and I gaming very much. So yeah, so nothing new for me, like usual. I have a basic life. And you, Multi.
Next week, I talk about Superman and Lois on Tuesday, season 1 and 2. Hopefully, maybe we will have guests on, or maybe I will end up being alone, but that's also fine because that's the new show. And in the new show, there's a uh, source of material segment that I'm very happy to do every week. Outside of that, next Thursday, Megan. I think I will be alone for that one for sure because Cole said, I don't want to see that thing in theater. And I think you will be in the same boat, Matt, based on past exchange. So I think next Thursday I will be alone, crying about
Yeah,
Megan being not as
well,
good.
well, you know, wasn't a fan of the first. I didn't see the director's cut where they apparently added more violence to it, but yeah, I didn't think it was like funny or so bad it's good or that good in like the gore and ideas. I just thought it was kind of very generic and vanilla and lame and just not a well-made film. And there's a lot of studio interference, and all letting the director kind of go as far with it as he probably wanted with his previous film and the gore in it and everything. With this film, still very PG, which I don't like. Just again, the whole Blumhouse thing of just making horror films for babies, so then they can make a bunch of money from teens. But uh, the whole plot and idea, yeah, is compelling, and it looks like it's embracing itself and silliness a bit more. So maybe, but with how bad the first one was, I just don't have interest in paying money to see it in theaters or risking it. Like I'd rather just wait until it's at home.
I feel you. And outside of that, tomorrow we talk about some Scene Baker movies. Cole and I, if you don't pass out or forget about the stream we have planned tomorrow, but that will be at I think 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, if I remember correctly. So that'd be 2:30 your time because you're far behind. Anyhow, that's it for now. I cannot wait for all of these streams. Oh, and also on Saturday we have a Red Blue after show that will come out about Beverly Hills Cops, the sequels, Axel F, and all of the good things. Um, and Matt is laughing because he remembers all of these chats after the show. Anyhow, with that being said, thank you very much, guys. I like talking about movies with you, and I cannot wait for more streams again next Tuesday. Superman and Lois, and tomorrow, Scene Baker shenanigans. And we are out.
See you next time.